Hey, what is up, mortals? It is Hazel here with a new video for you. In this video, we'll dive into the movie A Whisker Away. I just wanted to greet you guys by saying, just sit back and relax. You're in for a treat. So let's get started. Be warned that this video does contain spoilers for major plot points in A Whisker Away. So if you're okay with that, let's get on with the video. A Whisker Away, or Wanting to Cry, I Pretend to Be a Cat, is a story about depression, love, regret, and acceptance, and it is more than just a love story. The main character, Mio Sasaki, is a junior high student nicknamed Muge and is known by her peers as being someone eccentric, energetic, and always laughing and joking around. The nickname Muge means infinitely mysterious or Miss Ultra Gaga and enigmatic. She isn't always like this, however. She puts on a front of eccentricity in public, but whenever she is alone, she drops this act and shows her inner demons and sadness. She often directs her extroversion towards her classmate Kento Hinode, with whom she is in love. Hinode doesn't reciprocate Muge's flirting, but she is a romantic who believes that she has a chance with him. Despite Hinode often being cold towards Muge and the attempts of Muge's best friend Yoriko to dissuade her from falling for him, she keeps at it. She's perceived as a hopeless romantic and an obsessive stalker by her classmates because of this. The reason that she believes Hinode will fall for her is that she knows him better than anyone else, because she is also his cat. Yes, you heard that right. Muge is both Hinode's human classmate and his pet cat. Let's rewind, shall we? During the night of a festival, Muge's mother attempted to reintroduce herself into her daughter's life after hearing that her ex-husband was getting remarried. Muge had developed a deep resentment towards her mother because she abandoned her when she was a child. Much of her life was being uprooted and changed, and it was overwhelming her. After going on a walk to clear her mind, she stumbled upon a man selling various cat masks. When she put one on, she turned into a cat. Hinode happened to also be at this festival and found Muge in cat form, and essentially adopted the cat as his pet, and named her Tauro, after his dead dog. That's how she started her double life. This movie is more than just the cute cats and romance, as the character motivations and action in this movie are fueled by themes of trauma, depression, and fear. Let's start with Muge's enabler throughout the story, the cat mask seller. Now the question is, why did the mask seller appear to Muge? The mask seller is an enabler who feeds off of the lifespans of those he turns into cats. He finds and targets emotionally vulnerable people and offers them an escape from their problems. Muge was feeling so overwhelmed and hopeless regarding her home life that she just wanted to find a way to make the pain stop. The mask seller gave Muge a getaway, an escape from all her problems, living the simple life of a cat. He offered her a temporary distraction and didn't give her the full details of what the cat mask would lead her to. Doing this makes becoming a cat more appealing to the seller's victims. The mask seller then began to psychologically implement the idea that maybe life would be better as a cat than as a human. For Muge, when she is in cat form, she receives the love and attention from Hinode that she often feels that she is missing at home. The mask seller takes advantage of this feeling and keeps repeating the idea that Hinode would love her life better as a cat. Muge becomes stuck. She doesn't know whether to escape her human problems and keep Hinado happy as Tauro, or to tell him the truth and risk having him hate her because she invaded his personal life. The choices become heavier as she realizes that the issues Hinode faces cannot be helped when she's in cat form, and she can only help him as a human. Muge feels unloved by everyone in her life except by Hinode as Tauro, and she uses Hinode as a lifeline to keep her going as a human in hopes that he would fall for her in human form. In reality, her stepmother, father, and biological mother do love and care for her too, but after being abandoned, she shut her heart out to everyone. This is why she views her stepmother as bothersome and cried when the food she made was good. She's afraid of abandonment from another mother figure, so she shut herself off from her from the get-go. And when the stepmom proves herself reliable, Muge doesn't know how to react. She always calls her Miss Kaoru, being respectful but not letting down the walls around her. Muge often sees the people around her as scarecrows in the background, which symbolizes the way she has shut herself off from others. The reason she is so extroverted and uncaring of public opinion is that she has grown hardened to scrutinization. She doesn't necessarily have self-confidence. She has just learned how to put up a fake smile and pretend that everything is alright. Her exuberance is her mask for her pain. Viewers of A Whisker Away have seen Muge using her cat mask purely out of obsessive love for Hinode, but that's not the case. Muge doesn't wear the cat mask just so that she can have Hinode fall for her. She wears it to escape from her family problems. She wears it so that she can continue to physically mask the pain she goes through. She goes to Hinode because she feels safe with him. Her entire motivation wasn't just for love. He stumbled upon her coincidentally after she found the mask, which is how she fell for him. After that, she fell into a habit of escapism to get away from her family problems and visits Hinode so that she can use him to make herself feel better. Muge and Hinode are foils of one another, which in a way make them perfect for one another. Muge is loud, extroverted, and always smiling, while Hinode is soft-spoken, reserved, and typically seen with a frown plastered on his face. Muge isn't afraid to speak her mind, which Hinode both dislikes and is somewhat jealous of. When his family starts closing down their pottery shop, he wants to stand up for himself and say that he wants to take over the business, but his self-esteem is too low for him to muster up the courage. After Hinode's father passed away, he had a lot of responsibilities on his shoulders, which restricted him from pursuing his dreams. He was expected to apply to a good high school so that he could get a good job and support his family. This prevented him from ever expressing his true desires and passions for the future. He confides in Tauro and admits that he wishes that he has Muge's ability to not be afraid, to say what he truly feels. But he also borderline hates this side of Muge, as she's everything that he wishes he could be. What Hinode sees is the front that Muge puts up. She also struggles to say the things that she truly feels, as she was unable to tell him her true identity and feelings. She has been trying to find the time and courage to tell him that she is Tauro, but she could never bring herself to do it. The outspoken nature of Muge isn't always appreciated, though. After learning about Hinode's troubles at home as Tauro, she decided to write him a love confession to cheer him up. After her love letter was read out publicly by a class bully, Hinode reacted aggressively. He was embarrassed by the public humiliation of being confessed to in such a manner, despite it being out of Muge's control, and said that he truly hated her. Muge still managed to smile, despite her tears. After being rejected by Hinode and growing pressure at home, she reached her all-time low. She became consumed by her depression and believed that there was no solution for her to get out of the hole she was stuck in. She felt helpless and ran away from home. Sensing this despair, the mask seller once again asked her if she still wanted to be human. Muge said that she didn't, and at that moment, she lost her human face in the form of a mask. The mask seller wasn't transparent with his intentions with giving Muge the cat mask, so when she no longer wanted to live out her human life, he snatched her human face before she could change her mind, permanently trapping her in the body of a cat. Turning into a cat can symbolize many types of escapism people falling into depression use to cope. If you do it once, then it's almost impossible to prevent yourself from doing it again, and again, until you no longer want, or can, return to the life you once had before escaping. It's especially hard when there's someone who's enabling the negative behavior and egging you onto a path of self-destruction. And before you know it, it's too late, as the life you once had is now gone. Muge quickly realizes the mistake she's made when she sees how hard Hinode, Yoriko, and her family are looking for her. She also starts to realize that she's slowly losing her humanity as she loses her ability to understand human language and starts to develop cat-like behaviors. She wants to get her human side back, but the back of her mind is still shrouded in conflict. When she's stuck as Tauro, she takes a moment to come back home to say goodbye to her dad and stepmom and was surprised to see that her biological mother came to visit. This plot point in the movie was quick, but it was an important moment for Muge to see. She gave up her human life because she felt like her home life was hopeless, but in front of her, she could see her biological mother who abandoned her, and her stepmother who Muge considered selfish get into a physical altercation over her. Seeing this, made her greatly uncomfortable because she had no idea how to react. The version of the world that hated her was being broken in front of her very eyes. She convinced herself that her family didn't care about her, but they were fighting for her. She didn't realize this until it was too late, and she was stuck as a cat. Hinode also realized that he doesn't know who was there for him until it was too late. The dog he named Cat Muge after, Tauro, was a major support system for him, but he didn't appreciate him until he was gone. When Muge went missing, Hinode came to realize how much she brightens up his day, and that he doesn't actually hate her. In this way, Muge is like Hinode. Despite being foils, they are still similar in their worldviews. They prevented themselves from happiness because they were dwelling on the things that brought them down. This is an important lesson a Whisker Away teaches. Treasure the people that want to see you smile instead of those trying to bring you down. Before you realize it, you would have lost a diamond while looking at stones. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. With the services Skillshare provides, you can get access to many in-depth tutorial videos on basically anything you want to learn. Each class that they have is bound to help you with your creative endeavors. Do you want to learn how to make videos like this one? Do you want to learn how to write scripts or edit audio? Skillshare has you covered, and with our link, you can have a 14-day free trial. So what are you waiting for? Click the link now and get 14 days worth of classes free. Link in description below. When Muge finds the mask seller, she realizes that her face has already been sold. Her house cat, Kinako, had taken her human face. Kinako's story is more than just a twist villain. She believes that as a cat, she's unable to bring true happiness to those that she cares about. She thought that by taking Muge's face and being human, she can dedicate her life to making her owner, Muge's stepmom, Kaoru, happy. Kinako saw how Muge's avoidant attitude caused Kaoru to be sad, so taking her face would double as a way to keep Kaoru happy and allow Kinako as Muge to be the stepdaughter Kaoru wanted. It's only after she turned human that she realizes that she was loved just the way she was as a cat. Her owner loved Kinako as Kinako, not Kinako as Muge. And she didn't realize just how much she truly cared for her until she saw it from another perspective. Another lesson a Whisker Away teaches is to take a moment to view things from another perspective because, from the outside, things aren't always what they seem to be when you're inside. It's also about accepting who you are with all your flaws and defects. Kinako knows that her lifespan as a cat is short, but she accepts it because she knows that the life she lives was filled with love and made Kaoru happy. Mugen knows that her childhood was horrible, but despite that, there's still a light at the end of the tunnel, and that there were lights in her life that she was too blinded by the darkness of depression to see. All it took was to change perspectives to see them. When Kinako took Muge's face, she suddenly realizes the things she didn't see before as well. Seeing her life from an outside perspective made her realize that her mistake was even graver than she first realized. She realizes that she never treated the people in her life with enough care. She realizes that she made a lot of people worry about her disappearance. She begs Kinako for her face back. She promises to change and to do things better. When midnight comes, she will be a cat forever and her human lifespan would be taken and split among the mask seller and Kinako. But Kinako had not yet realized the downfall of taking Muge's face. Muge then tried to find the mask seller at Cat Island. At the same time, Kinako goes to Hinode and brings him to Cat Island as well. Kinako knows that the key to convincing Muge to become human again is to involve Hinode due to her feelings for him. While on Cat Island, Muge stumbles upon a bar filled with humans who have been turned into cats by the mask seller. They all express the regret they have by running away from their problems by turning into a cat, and they dedicate themselves to helping Muge turn back into a human before midnight. With the help of the previous victims, Muge was able to find Kinako and Hinode and was given her human face back. But something went wrong. She was unable to return to her human form. Muge still had a mental block, as even though she was able to recognize that she made a mistake, she still believed that becoming human again will still cause her suffering. This is where Hinode comes in. The reason that Hinode is such an important key to her becoming human again is that he's her rock. When she's Tauro, he's there for her and gives her the love and support that she feels is missing in her life. Tauro begins fighting with the mask seller, and seeing him fight for her, she begins to find her own will to fight. After the mask seller is defeated by his previous victims, Muge finally accepts that her human life can and will be better, as long as she doesn't run away from her problems. Because she has people by her side that love and supports her, Hinode finally reveals his feelings for Muge, and she begins her path toward facing her problems. In the end, Muge is seen having a stronger relationship with her biological mother. She may have found the courage to be with her again after meeting a human mother turned cat on Cat Island. She was overwhelmed and afraid that she wasn't a good enough mother for her children. She doubted her parenting ability, and instead of trying to be better, she let her fear consume her. And she ran away. After hearing her story, Muge was able to see the perspective of why her mother might have abandoned her. Hinode is shown mustering up the courage to tell his mother he wants to be a potter, and despite his fears of disappointing her, she is proud of him for speaking up about what he wants. Muge and Hinode are foils of one another, but together they both brought out each other's voices that they were too afraid to let out. Kinako is also seen being satisfied with her life as a cat after learning how much her owner loves and cares for her how she is. The ending was conclusive and tied up the story in a heartwarming and satisfying way. The entire movie was an emotional journey with various themes and messages woven into the storyline. Let's get into some important parts of this movie that aren't talked about enough. There are various times in the story in which the mental lines between human and cat start to blur. When Muge first reminisced about her time with Hinode, she remembered it as if she was in human form, but in reality, she was a cat. Another instance is when she jumped off of the school bridge to confront two bullies who were gossiping about Hinode. She comments about it being easier as a cat, showing that mentally she is starting to get to her two personas mixed up. She puts on so many physical and psychological masks that she's losing sight of what her reality is. It's important to note that Hinode is simply a distraction for Muge and that her actions throughout the movie don't just revolve around him. She doesn't know what a healthy relationship truly looks like since she grew up in a broken home, so her obsession with Hinode is understandable, but not excusable. She uses her infatuation with Hinode to turn her messed up reality into a real-life fantasy. She isn't entirely driven by love because A Whisker Away is more than just a love story. It's about struggles with trauma, self-acceptance, and escapism. She doesn't simply run away and give up her human life because of being rejected. She did so because it was the straw that broke the camel's back. The moment before she ran away, she was arguing with her stepmother, making that moment the pivotal turning point before she finally snapped and ran away. Hinode's words just put her in an emotionally unstable state, which leads to the argument. Muge is obsessive and should have respected Hinode's boundaries. She shouldn't have infiltrated his home and pretended to be a cat to get close to him. Her actions and thinking aren't healthy in the slightest, and it's refreshing to see a protagonist not always in the morally correct position and teach us that it's okay to not be okay. A Whisker Away is a story about flaws, change, and acceptance. People overreact. People are emotionally charged. And people make mistakes. But not all people are bad because of the things they have done. And that's okay. If you haven't seen A Whisker Away already, please go do so. It's a wonderful movie that will have you laughing and crying alongside it. Although it isn't without its flaws, it's without a doubt worth a watch. I can guarantee it. Thank you all for indulging yourselves in all this information thus far. I really hope you enjoyed it. Now, there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, if you're in the mood for some great storytelling, We the Celestials have got you covered. Our We the Celestials, My Hero Academia, and Naruto What If channels retell the story of their namesake anime, with a twist. Check it out if you're interested. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details can be found in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, then I'd like to extend you an invitation to join the team. The only caveat being that we only accept members from 16 years and up to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interest by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. We're always looking for members to join us. Well, that's it from us for today's video. So thank you all for watching, and have a great day.